is just remarkable.
Short term. She was the story. Great.
Let's go to college football and two coaches who fell flat on their faces in week one. Kalen DeBoer of Alabama and Bill Belichick of North Carolina. It's hard for me to say Bill Belichick of North Carolina without giggling. All right, Alabama plays Louisiana Monroe this Saturday, and North Carolina goes to Charlotte, which we have always known as UNC Charlotte. Both Alabama and Carolina should win laughingly, but Wilbon, which coach needs a big win more this weekend, DeBoer or Chapel Bill?
When you hear UNC Charlotte, don't you still think Cornbread Maxwell?
Yeah, I do.
I do too.
I do.
We're of a certain age.
I do.
An old age. Come on, it's DeBoer. Bill Belichick could lose. If Bill Belichick goes 0-12, he's still Bill freaking Belichick, okay? And his bust is in Canton, and nothing else that happens subsequently matters, even though it'd be embarrassment, and they fire him and they do whatever. DeBoer, if DeBoer loses this game,
we're not gonna lose this
Saturday night,
that's right.
The amount of texting going on among the Alabama boosters as they pass the hat to raise the money to fire him on Sunday would be amazing, that story. They're not going to lose, but it's still DeBoer.
Okay. You're 100% right. It's DeBoer. And let's go a little bit deeper into this DeBoer thing. They are a 36.5-point favorite against Louisiana Monroe, 36.5. And I tell you that there's not a number in the world that they could achieve in this game that would stop the people in Alabama from saying we got to get rid of this guy.
That's right.
Right? And by the way, Louisiana Monroe, is that Marilyn Monroe, James Monroe, or Earl Monroe? You have to tell me.
Like Earl.
I'll give you a little fun fact, though. I was told today that Louisiana Monroe beat Nick Saban in his first year.
And nobody remembers that.
21-14 his first year. So if DeBoer wins that game, he's got one up on Saban. Look, I cannot argue with you that Belichick needs this more. And you're right. He could go 0-11, 0-12. I don't think he would be fired. He's totally safe. But can I step back a little bit in this regard? DeBoer, how many people in the country were familiar with DeBoer's work, let's say 3 or 4 years ago? The answer is nobody. The answer is nobody. All right, so he had a wonderful record at Sioux Falls. So what? Bill Belichick is the greatest coach who ever lived. And I would say to you, it may be more shocking what happened to Bill Belichick last week than what happened to Kalen DeBoer. Bill Belichick is the GOAT. Kalen DeBoer is another grazing animal. They are not the same. They are not.
But as you said, one has his job. It's in jeopardy. It is in jeopardy.
Right. Yes.
And I would say this to you. It wasn't more shocking. We don't attach whatever happens to North Carolina directly to Belichick forever and ever and ever. We don't. But if DeBoer, if you're the guy who tries to follow the guy, we talk about this all the time. You don't want to do this. Right. And if this game is close,
it's not going to be close.
They will want to.
Of course, but it's not.
But let me ask you this. Suppose Alabama's just not any damn good.
That's possible. Then he's out. Then they will hold bake sales all throughout the state to raise money to get him out of there, to meet the numbers. It's $70 million. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. But I'm telling you,
that's called needing it more.
The historical perspective of Belichick losing like that after the 7-0 lead. I mean, they went right down the field.
Who wins by a bigger number? Which one of these guys wins? Who wins by a bigger number Saturday?
Oh, DeBoer. Come on now.
Come
on now. Let's take a break. Coming up, how significant would it be if your boy Aaron Rodgers, if his passes are just slightly off? We're going to ask Steve Young.
Pray for that. We'll also ask him what challenges Jaden Daniels might face following his standout rookie season. I'm going to root against Rodgers harder than I've ever rooted against anybody.
So do you think that Louisiana Monroe is Earl? Do you think it's
like that, Earl?
Or do you think it's James?
Earl's.
In the history of this show, we have had no guest we look forward to more than the man who joins us now.
That's right.
My former backup at Greenwich High School, Hall of Fame quarterback, Steve Young, who's thrilled to be with us, and we're thrilled to have him. All right, let's get to the first question.
Oh, great.
James Harrison said on his podcast earlier this week that Aaron Rodgers' throws look about 3 inches off to him.
Good.
And that can mean everything in this league. As a quarterback, how important to your success is precise ball placement?
Well, let's start here. James Harrison, you'll never hear me comment about somebody's dip and rip or their arm bar or their swim move from the defensive lineman perspective. So let's just leave it. Look, Aaron Rodgers is caravanning around the league. He's got new offenses, new players, trying to get up to speed. 3 inches to me is like, that's good news to me. That is like only 3 inches off. But I will tell you, as you get to plus 40 years old, they always, universally everyone wonders what's the first thing to go when you're over 40. But quarterbacks will tell you, Tony, that it's absolutely the first thing to go is your arm. And so we'll have to keep an eye on that, right? Because if Aaron Rodgers' arm is not all that, we'll see it right away.
I would like that.
I know you don't like Aaron Rodgers.
I'm a Bears guy. He's still a cheesehead to me.
You don't like him.
Steve, Jaden Daniels, of course, had that great rookie season. In your experience, what challenges do you face primarily in that next season, coming off your first really, really good season?
Well, think about it, Mike, you throw the mechanic in the trunk as a rookie. Like, everything's reflexive. You jump in, you use your intuition. You don't have, your mind is not cluttered because you haven't have time to clutter it. And then the off season, the coaches just go to school and they want you to become more sophisticated, which is really true. You want to grow into more sophistication. You saw Patrick Mahomes transition as he did that very effectively. And so the second year, you can get overwhelmed with information. And all of a sudden, all the things that you did so well as a rookie was just free and open and intuitive, reflexive. It becomes kind of bogged down. And so you got to be careful. And Jaden's the only one that can guard for that, and he needs to watch for it, because I've seen second-year guys get bogged down with too much information.
All right, I waited a whole question to get to my Bears, but I'm going to do it now because everybody around the Bears has high hopes because of Ben Johnson, 3 new offensive linemen joining Caleb, but they still have an issue at left tackle. In your life, this would have been right tackle where that question comes up more, but what do you do to alleviate concerns and issues? They just named the left tackle like day before yesterday. Problems here, Steve? What do you do?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, as you know, Michael, football hates lefties, hates left-handed anything. But you're going to have to line up in the left formation with a tight end over there. You have to chip. You're going to have to, they'll have to help. They'll have to slide that way. They'll have to make up for it. You have to make accommodations for the left tackle. There's no position on the field, maybe other than corner, that is more important, that you can't hide. Football has too many people on the field, so you can usually hide guys. You cannot hide the left tackle, and I think that's why you're bringing it up.
I'm going to bring up Cam Ward now because he's going to start week 1 for the Titans. Steve, rookies have to sit sometimes forever, at least for a while. When you look at rookie quarterbacks coming to the league now, how different are things then and now?
All right, so there's speed and sophistication, right? And the speed is always the same. It's always been incredible athletes, the best athletes in the world. But the sophistication is different. Back when, earlier days before the rule changes for safety, I always said in college, no receiver's open. In the pros, in college, everyone's open. In the pros, nobody's open. In the game today, because it's less sophisticated, because there's more college-like offense allowed, because defenses can't launch and they can't cover as much ground, the transition's not as hard. It's just not. And that's why you think about the offenses you watch in college on Saturday and the offenses you watch on Sunday, there's not a huge difference, where there used to be a massive difference. And that helps young quarterbacks transition. But still, watch out for the speed, because the speed is so much more fast as a pro that a lot of quarterbacks still struggle.
I got to say that answer surprises me a lot, because I've always lived by that notion that college is way different from the pros. And if you're saying they're meshing, that surprises me a lot. I'll stay with quarterbacks, though.
Coming together.
Yeah, Joe Burrow has said some confident things recently. He told Sports Illustrated he's not sure anyone is playing the position better than he is right now, and he's ready to put on a show. It sort of sounds like boasting. Do you think boasting is a good sign for Joe Burrow?
I'm not sure. I think Joe hopes so. I mean, everyone gets ready to play differently, right? Josh Allen now famously throws up before every game. Everyone deals with it differently. I feel like Joe's probably in the mirror pregame with his shirt off, with the bicep curl, and kind of looking with the big chain, kind of looking in the mirror like, I am all that. I am that guy. You know what? And if you play great, good. I just always felt like I never wanted to say anything that made the job harder. Defenses generally, nameless, faceless, but all of a sudden they say to themselves, Joe Burrow, Myles Garrett, they open up against Cleveland. Myles Garrett sees that and says, I'm going to take special attention here and make sure that guy doesn't, I mean, like Aaron Rodgers did it when he said, I own Chicago. I mean, I'm sure that's going to make you happy, Michael.
Yeah.
But I think you make the job, the dangerous part is you can make the job a little harder than it already is, and it's already the hardest job in the world. So.
We will get you out of here on this. Mark Andrews dropped that sure two-point conversion that cost the Ravens in their playoff loss to the Bills. As a quarterback, what do you say to that player in the offseason?
Well, I can tell you, I told you earlier, football has too many guys. It's chaos. And every time something goes wrong, there's 50 reasons why. And so players understand that. And they understand that, stuff happens. And especially under dramatic circumstances, it's brutal. But I think when you have a great culture, which the Ravens have had for really 15 years, I got to give them so much credit. That locker room is always cohesive, that it can turn out to be something positive. You can spend the offseason in kind of rallying in a way because, look, I remember I played the Raiders once, last second, touchdown wins the game. I'm running around scrambling, and Jerry Rice is literally in the end zone like this, like just waving his arms. I never see him, and we lose. And you know what? Great locker rooms handle mistakes. They deal with it, and I appreciate my teammates dealing with me over the years, too.
Before we let you go, I got one more thing. A PS is in my head here. Steve, what are you looking to as we go into week 1 of the NFL season? What are you looking forward to? Any storyline, player, coach, thing, element that just has you intrigued as we go into this first weekend?
Well, I think more than anything, Michael, I mentioned about the rule changes. So the sophistication versus college has kind of gone down so the transition can happen. I'm looking for those transitions of teams that can just turn the page. The 49ers are trying to turn the page. The Vikings are trying to turn the page. There's good teams out there that you want to, especially in preseason, which September is. In the preseason, you want to see them be able to turn it that fast so they can actually compete in December and January for the ultimate prize. So I'm watching for those teams that are in transition to see how fast they can do it.
I know I speak for Wilbon when I say this is a great thrill and joy for us.
Absolutely.
We're so happy to have you back.
Thank you much, Steve.
Thank
You
you.
guys are the best. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. We'll see you next week.
Let's take another break, but on the way, would you rather have Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen on Sunday night?
And are the Lions or the Packers a better bet in the NFC North? I hate them both.
Yeah.
Toss up.
Doesn't this make you
Next.
happy that Steve's here?
Absolutely.
Very happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, the first person I ever heard talk about preseason now extending into September was Steve about 25 years ago.
So the sense that those early games are not
did toss up. You'll take either one.
Yes.
But I'm going to take Lamar Jackson in this circumstance. What did surprise me, Tony, was hearing recently, maybe as recently as this morning, that either whether they're the betting favorite or the Vegas favorite, these two are favored ahead of Philadelphia and Kansas City.
I wouldn't do that.
I'm not taking them.
I wouldn't do that.
I'm not taking them either. I'll tell you what else I'm not hearing. I'm not hearing, and we kid because we love, any of the nonsense that I often hear on Get Up and First Take, that Caleb Williams is under the most pressure, Dak Prescott is no, they're not. The dudes who've been on deck for years with the bat in their hands and never get the turn and play, they're under the most pressure, period. Yeah. I don't even know if I can separate them in terms of Lamar from Josh, who's under individually the most, but I'm going to take Lamar Jackson in this game.
I'll just say this. The first week of the NFL schedule is as good as the first week of the college schedule.
Like
I mean, you're just going to sit there and watch.
Games.
You're going to sit there and watch. What's next?
Toss up. They play on Sunday. Better NFC North team, the Lions or the Packers?
Okay, so the boomlet about the Packers, I think, is being stoked by the fact that they just got Micah Parsons. And there is a notion out there that you hear that Jordan Love is an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
So let's just look at what they've done. In the last 2 years, the Packers have been to the playoffs, and they have gone 1-2. The Lions have also been to the playoffs the last 2 years, and they have gone 2-2, which is a little bit better. In the last 2 regular seasons, the Packers have gone 20-14. The Lions, have gone 27-7, and that's a lot better. Now, I know they lost their coordinators, right? Ben Johnson, you're happy. Ben Johnson went to the Bears. Aaron Glenn went to the Jets. But they still have Dan Campbell, don't they?
Yeah.
So my position is that I think the Lions are a little bit better, but this is your division. Yeah. What do you think?
I've obsessed over all this for the last 6 weeks. And I can cheer for the Lions. I cheered for the Lions the last couple of years.
But not the Packers.
Never. I cannot. Nothing inside of me will allow for that. Right. And yet, I look at the Packers and think, before the trade, they were better. And Jordan Love, what is this, like his 5th season? Now, Jordan Love's been around for a while. He hasn't been great yet.
No.
So the leap that people who have him as preseason MVP, the leap they're expecting him to take is a pretty big one.
Yeah.
But the Packers seem to have everything. And now, the one thing you have to have, to me, particularly in that division, you have to have a Hall of Fame defensive player. The Packers have that now. They do.
Yes, and Mike.
I think Michael's going to be better for the Packers than he was for in the circus of Dallas.
Isn't the kid returning to the Lions? Is he not one of those
They
potential?
have everything, but the brain drain to me is going to cost the Lions.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can lose those lieutenants. I know Dan Campbell is a player's coach, and
Seems
those guys
to be
follow him.
more successful than either of us thought he would
But you know
be.
what he did? It reminds me of Mike Ditka. He allowed his lieutenants to really coach that team. And I don't know how much he's going to miss from them being gone.
What's next?
Toss up, they play on Sunday. Which new head coach do you expect to have more success? Pete Carroll or Mike Vrabel?
Pete Carroll is a great coach. Pete Carroll has won a Super Bowl.
And should have won a second.
And he's won a national championship.
Should have won another one.
Right? He's done both of those things. And I expect him to be terrific. Pete Carroll, when he was with Seattle, I believe went to the playoffs 10 of his 14 years. That's impressive, 10 of 14. Not everybody can be Mike Tomlin and have a winning season all the time. Okay, so Pete Carroll is very impressive. But I have fears for the Raiders because of the division they're in a division with Kansas City, with the Chargers, with Denver. Are they not all 3 playoff teams?
Yeah.
I think they are. So I have fears for that. Mike Vrabel, I thought, did a pretty good job at Tennessee, and he's an obvious local hero in New England. He was on 3 different Super Bowl championship teams there. But people say that Drake May is going to be a very
There's
good
a lot of slurpage of him, too.
But in that division, you have the Jets and the Dolphins. Those are beatable teams.
Yes.
And so I am going to say, in the short term, I'm going to say Vrabel.
I'm going to say Vrabel, too. And part of it's just looking at the division. And, you know, maybe one of those other teams in that division will be the team that flips it, and maybe it will be Vrabel in New England that flips it. I have higher hopes for Drake May than I have for J.J. McCarthy. Again, the slurpage of him having not taken a snap is absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd. Like,
But Drake May played.
Drake
played
May, you saw things at the end of the season that you have on film in the NFL that tell you that he can play, and Vrabel, I think, can get the most out of him. I don't want to doubt Pete Carroll, though. I just think the division is too hard because you got those teams you have to go against, and Denver is coming.
Have you seen the coaches in that division?
Yeah.
I mean, now Andy Reid has won Super Bowls. Sean Payton's won Super Bowls.
And Harbaugh.
Right? And Harbaugh has won national championship. Come on. Have you ever seen, well, the NFC East when we were younger? When we were
Jimmy
younger.
Johnson,
Yes.
Joe Gibbs, Bill Parcells, and whom I leave
Buddy
out?
Ryan.
And Buddy Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
Toss up, they play Sunday. Which former overall #1 pick has more to prove this season? Bryce Young or Trevor Lawrence?
This is a no-doubt situation.
It is a
This is a no-doubt. It's Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay, there's just no question
ding,
about it.
ding.
When Trevor Lawrence came out of college, he was considered a can't-miss, almost transformational quarterback. And in fact, in his second year of Jacksonville, he went from 3-14 to 9-8. He got into the playoffs. He won a playoff game, and the trajectory appeared to be going straight up into the air.
Yep.
And since then, I'm pretty sure he's 10-16. And last year in the games that he played, he was 2-8. He had 11 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions, and the trajectory is flat now. It's flat. The other kid, it was unexpected that he was the overall #1 to begin with, and when he had a really bad start in his first year, people looked at him and said, see? So the mediocrity, recent mediocrity of Trevor Lawrence is stunning.
The answer is Trevor Lawrence. As you know, I thought that Trevor Lawrence, as a freshman and sophomore, was the best quarterback I had ever seen, even better than John Elway, who was truly, truly, truly great, but he was sort of 6 and 5-ish. Elway didn't have that kind of talent around him. Trevor Lawrence, my God, I just thought, okay, he's going to step in the league, and by the beginning of the third season, he's going to take off, and he's going to be out there with the elites, and he's not. Now, how much of that has to do, and I lived through this in Chicago with the last couple of quarterbacks, at least, with coaching. And so there's another new coach in Jacksonville.
There's a new coach.
Liam Cohen. There's another new coach there. And we don't know. I mean, don't they have to go somewhere else and let him start somewhere else if this doesn't work again? How long is the leash for Trevor Lawrence? Because he's the answer to this question.
he's 100% the answer to this question. He would be the answer against any other quarterback that you would name in the league.
Yeah.
Because of the way he
Yes.
came in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Let's take one other break. When we return, could the Steelers really have an historic defense? We're going to ask Booger McFarland.
We'll also ask him whether he believes Aiden Hutchinson could actually be better after recovering from that broken leg.
When is this show going to end?
Never.
How much do we have to say?
Jerry Lewis, baby.
This came in wearing a Boone Valley golf shirt. Let's start with this. How do you see Micah Parsons working out and maybe fitting in with Green Bay?
You know what, Tony? I think he's going to fit in well because he's an elite player. He's an elite pass rusher. And I think if you're Green Bay, what you envision is Micah Parsons paired with Rashawn Gary because now you have one of the most dynamic pass rushers in football, and it gives Green Bay so much versatility. We know what they can do offensively with Matt LaFleur and Love and all those guys, but defensively, if and when they get a lead, can they close people out? You know, a lot of people are talking about Herschel Walker and the big trade that the Cowboys made. To me, this is akin to when the Green Bay Packers got Reggie White because it shifted the dynamic in football because they had one of the elite pass rushers coming to Green Bay. I think Green Bay envisions Micah Parsons having that kind of impact on their team. And if they stay healthy, they're going to be right there with Detroit and Philadelphia in the NFC competing for the Super Bowl.
Well, Booger, conversely, where does the absence leave the Cowboys?
As my grandfather once told me, up the creek without a paddle, Mike. and I promise you, there's no paddle waiting on them. Because essentially, you don't get better trading Hall of Fame players. Like, it just doesn't happen. Jerry can say whatever he wants to say. Micah Parsons is one of the 3 or 4 game changers in football. And if you're Dallas, no matter who you draft down the road, no matter who you plug in there right now, you're not going to have somebody that can change the game. And so they're going to put a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott, a lot of pressure on CeeDee Lamb, a lot of pressure on George Pickens because the offense is going to have to carry the weight. Defensively, I feel bad for those guys because that defense is going to get a lot of blame when they're not dealt the full deck. And for Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator especially, he's got to go out and stop people. He's got to go out and get stops, and he's not going to be able to have the full gamut of what he envisioned when he took that job.
Are we going to stay with the pass rushers for a second, the category? Because Trey Hendrickson bet on himself to the tune of $30 million for the one season, and at 31 years old. Booger, if you were doing this, would you have bet on yourself even for that price, or do you take the security that might have come with a different negotiation?
You know, I'm a very confident guy. And if you're not going to bet on Bug, if I can't bet on me, then who else is going to bet on me? But here's the problem with football, though. Like, the injury rate is 100%. It's not if you're going to get hurt, it's when. And so maybe if I'm Trey Hendrickson, I decided to kind of push the envelope a little bit and see how much guaranteed money I can get. I think he tried to do the best he could. Cincinnati has been shown that they've shown us that they will spend money. They just did it on the offensive side of the football with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. I think Trey Hendrickson did the best he could. He's going to bet on himself next year, Mike, because he signed and did like a one-year patch deal, basically saying, I can be a free agent next year. But you know what Cincinnati will probably do? They'll probably franchise tag him, knowing what Mike Brown and those guys will do. So I hope Trey goes out and has an unbelievable season and puts Cincinnati in a bind where they got to pay him T.J. Watt type money or they got to let him go.
I like having all these questions about defensive players, Tony. No quarterback zone. Dan Campbell, Bug, says that he believes Aiden Hutchinson can return from this broken leg an improved player due to greater flexibility, better hips, blah, 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 hand technique, all that. Are you buying this?
Listen, all 3 of us are golfers. Have you ever got better at golf without swinging the club? Like, at some point, you actually have to go to the range and practice the game of golf in order to get better at it. So I understand what Dan is saying. Maybe he became a better athlete. Maybe he became more flexible. Maybe he can do Pilates better, but you only get better at the game of football by playing the game of football.
Amen.
And I think his expertise and his wisdom and his knowledge about the game may be better, but he's not going to come back the same player. You actually have to get out and play in real game reps in order to get ready. So he was well on his way to being Defensive Player of the Year last year. I think he has an opportunity to eventually get back there, but he's not going to pick up there. Like, football is a show me game, guys. Like, you don't just roll out of bed and line up and get 15, 16 sacks. If that was the case, I'd roll out of bed and be a scratch golfer. And Tony, me and you, we're not scratch golfers just yet.
No, not unless you consider 20 somewhere close to scratch, and I certainly don't. We'll stay with defense here. Veteran safety Juan Thornhill says he believes the Steelers have a chance to be one of the best defenses of all time. And Mike Tomlin said it could be historic. Really? Is that how you see it?
Well, I don't know about all time, because when you talk about all time, now you're talking about the 85 Bears, Wilbon, you're talking about the Ravens, you're talking about the Buccaneers. Like, they're not going to be that. But can they be really good? Yes. Now, why does he say that? Because you have the addition of Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., so you have one of the best secondaries in football. Up front, you have Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Highsmith, you got Patrick Queen. Like, you got a lot of dudes that can affect the game. And if they stay healthy, they're going to be very dynamic. They have the ability to do and play you however they want to play you. But let's pump the brakes, because the 2002 Bucks and the Ravens and the Bears were like a word before you start entering defenses into the all-time conversation.
Amen. Some just common sense on this show, Boog. I got to follow up on this Steelers question, and I'm stealing this from Tony because this is about quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, as we go into this season, where are you on how effective you think Aaron Rodgers is going to be as he enters, age 42? What's he going to look like?
Well, the effectiveness of him is going to be determined by the offensive line. They got a lot of money and a lot of first-round picks invested in the offensive line. So if they can protect him, yeah, his arm is still good. But I don't know about you guys. Like, when I roll out of bed at 45, 46, 47, like, I don't necessarily feel great. And so the fact that he's going to be 42, he's going to roll out of bed and he's going to feel that. Now, the arm is still good. He might not be as mobile, but I do believe if he's protected, he can give them average quarterback play. He's not going to be the MVP or the four-time MVP that he's been, but he can give them average quarterback play. And if you put that with the defense, I think then they have the ability to make some noise. I think they're going to be a playoff team, guys. I'm a believer in Mike Tomlin. I'm a believer in the defense. I think he'll stay healthy. I think they can make the playoffs. Beyond that, it depends on how the ball bounces.
Did you actually talk about 45 and 46 and 47? Do you know how deep in the rearview mirror that is for us? Do you have any idea? We cannot even remember that. We'll get you out of here on this. Which team's defense in the entire league are you particularly